welcome to Leading with Purpose. I am here today with Connor Hiebel, founder of Island Microgreens, and I'm really excited to share this conversation. In fact, I first met Connor after he and his mom got off the marketers cruise. We'll hear a little bit about that and how that came to be. But many of our friends and clients that were on the marketers cruise then were coming over to our Soulful Leadership Retreat in February of 2025. Was that just this year? It's so crazy. Yeah, so we're less than a year of knowing each other, but I've been able to watch what you've done, Connor, in your business. And what you do is a lot different. You know, you actually have a physical, not only a product to me, but an experience and different than a transformational training or coaching author. You're in that world, but yet you do something very, very unique. And I wanted to hear and share a little bit about your story. But to start, it was very interesting that at my event, you and your mom got to drive me home back to the Grand Tower at Reunion Resort after a late night party. So I just wanted to say thank you again for that. And what a fun way to get to hear some of the story that I wanted to have you share with other people. First, what are microgreens?
Great question. Hey everyone, I'm Connor Hiebel, and thank you for having me on this podcast. It's been so awesome getting to know you as well because of just seeing you and all the amazing things you're doing in the world. It's so powerful and impactful. So going back to microgreens, so you have there's stage in a veggie. So you think of like a seed, then you have the sprout, which are usually you sprout them in those little jars. Then the stage right after is called microgreens. And what microgreens, why they're so popular right now is because they're 40 times more, up to 40 times more nutrient dense than your mature veggies. So think of like a handful of broccoli versus broccoli microgreens. Those broccoli microgreens are going to have up to 40 times more nutrients than your regular broccoli. And in phytonutrients, there's actually up to 100 times more phytonutrients. So super powerful for your body. And when you grow them, they're clean, they're pesticide free, organic heirloom, and they take 7 days to grow. So tiny baby veggies that are super impactful and superfoods.
It's so funny because I'm almost embarrassed to say we have a tower garden
Oh, I
that I
love
bought.
those.
I love them too if you get to use it. We haven't never planted it because we were always afraid. My wife is afraid that if you don't take care of it, it'll grow mold and mildew
Mhm.
and it ruins the whole thing. So rather than ruining the whole thing, we've never really even started with microgreens. It's like, first of all, very easy to do from what you share with me, almost
Yeah,
disposable, and it's very, very inexpensive. I want
100%.
to go into the story, but just so people understand a little bit more about doing microgreens, and to me, I'm excited to get started. I'm happy to have you on here, and happy to learn more for myself because I think it'll be fun for our kids to be doing it. But you can grow a variety of different types of greens. What are the types of greens, and how do they do it? How do we do it?
So Island Microgreens, we have 11 different varieties, everything from broccoli, kales, collards, peas, sunflowers, even cantaloupe. So you can grow just about anything. In fact, the only things you cannot grow as a microgreen are any plants that have stems that are poisonous to you. So like potatoes or tomatoes or stuff you can't grow as a microgreen. But most everything else you can grow and eat, and it tastes so similar to your mature veggie. And in fact, a lot of times I'll sample the microgreens and people will be like, how did you flavor this? Because it tastes so much better because you're getting that level of nutrient content in there that it tastes so good. And so, going back to the growing aspect of it, it's super easy to grow. In fact, I like to say you may not have a green thumb, but you have a microgreen thumb. I've had so many people who are like, I can't grow anything. I have a brown thumb, but I can grow these microgreens because all you need to do is you put your soil down, your seeds down on the tray, then you just water once a day, just once a day. And then in 7 days, you have your microgreens. So if you can keep a plant alive for 7 days, you can grow your microgreens.
And so if you're growing for us, I've got a family of four 15-year-old twins. They eat veggies once a day. If I was to replace that, what would they eat? Do they just eat a handful of these microgreens? Do you put them in other foods that you cook? Are they added to salads? What are the best ways to consume these microgreens?
So everyone has their own preference. I love just cutting and eating them plain. A lot of times you'll add them to like soup, salad, sandwiches, anything you're eating in the day, just put a little microgreens on top as a garnish. I really like Oriental mustard. It's the cousin to wasabi. It has that nice spice, which is really good on like a taco where you want that flavor, really rich flavor. For like a salad, I would recommend like a salad mix or a kind of more mellow microgreen. And when you said like to replace the veggies, I don't think it would be good to replace them. I think it's a good enhancement. And so it's that combination of having both your veggies and your microgreens that'll really help improve everything you're doing in your life
Well,
because
I'm
it gives
glad
that
that you said that because I'm sure that my wife would agree, the cook of the house, and loves to have that at least one solid meal. In school, they say they get a vegetable, but we don't know how much that counts.
There
The,
was a period of time where schools were counting pizza as a vegetable because it had tomato sauce on it. So that was
even,
a vegetable.
even ketchup, yeah, they were counting ketchup with fries
Yeah.
as a vegetable. You got potatoes and ketchup, potatoes and tomatoes. So
Yeah.
that goes back to the thing like you were saying about the vegetables. The vegetables get added fiber and other value, and nobody gets enough vegetables anyway. So this just it's almost like taking a supplement. People take these vitamins of microgreens, but the supplements are or master processed. I don't know, mega processed is the word I was looking for, rather than like really let right off of your shelf. And you said that they're organic, that Island Microgreens offers organic. Are they all organic or just some of them?
It depends upon what seeds you get. From us, we get organic heirloom non-GMO seeds. And what's most important within that is we also test for pathogens. A lot of people, there was a period of time where there was an E. coli and salmonella scare in sprouting. And that was because people were getting seeds that weren't tested for pathogens. So like E. coli and salmonella, they weren't tested. And so they were incubating it in this tiny little jar. And so we make sure that we have clean seeds when we do this. It's okay when you're growing out in the garden because you're not eating so close to that seed, but when you're growing so densely with the microgreens, you want to make sure that you have those good quality seeds. And so we make sure we do that. And within all of that, it's just really powerful to be able to add it. You were talking about the supplements. With a supplement, not only does it have the ultra processed stuff like what you were saying, it also usually is specific to one vitamin or mineral. So, like vitamin E, for example. If you were to eat an orange, it's not just vitamin E. There's a whole series of vitamins and minerals that are in that orange that they don't extract to put into that supplement. So, when you're eating a microgreen, you're not just getting one particular nutrient or phytonutrient, you're getting all of them and you're adding like an extra boost because you're eating it so young.
I have some more technical questions about it, but
Okay.
I want to save those because I'm very excited about your story, and that's a big part of really the whole marketing, the business, all of that, being an entrepreneur. And when did you start? How old were you when you started your business?
I started my business when I was 14, right in the middle of COVID.
Okay, yeah. So I was going to
Right.
get to that part too. Okay, so
Uh,
in the middle of COVID, 2020
uh, 2020,
was right
June
in
of
2020.
2020.
Okay, June
Yeah,
of,
right in the middle of it all.
and so right in the middle of 2020, you're 14 years old. Had you been growing microgreens? Like what made you go into creating a business selling microgreens in the middle of COVID in 2020 at 14 years old?
So I'll go all the way back to when I was super young. My why is because my whole life I've had genetic health challenges. And when I was 7, it got to be to the point where I couldn't get outside, I couldn't go to school. I pretty much just stayed at home because I was in so much pain. I was so inflamed that my doctors were throwing around like cancer, MS, Chiari, like all these big diagnoses, but no one could figure out what was going on. They could see that I was more inflamed than any adult they had seen. They were super concerned about that, but none of the tests were showing why. So I found a holistic doctor and I went on a gut repair diet. And during that time, I wasn't the most popular because I could only eat some fruits, some meats, and some vegetables. So birthdays were kind of a little chaotic, but it was so worth it because within 8 months, my body completely changed. It was like night and day. You could see a difference in my level of inflammation. And a big part of that is because I was growing microgreens. They really helped me move forward in that space, not only in my health and being able to reduce that level of inflammation and calm my body down, but also in the sense of being able to grow something. Because during that time, I wasn't really able to do much, but I could take care of the microgreens and I could grow them. And that also enhanced my mental health. And so I've been growing ever since I was 7 years old. And then when COVID hit and the produce got so wacky, like you'd go to the store, the prices rose and the quality of the produce dipped. I was getting concerned about that food chain, and I knew other people were too. So I started growing microgreens at home, started a garden. I was like, gardens are so hard. Why don't I share what's been really helping me with microgreens with everyone else? Because in 7 days, you can have fresh vegetables. And with a garden, it's so much longer. So that's when I decided to create Island Microgreens to empower other people to grow their own vegetables.
I love it. So that actually it's such a beautiful story and it leads right into the technical question. So you grow them at home. Do you have like a tray of each of the different vegetables? How much space does that take up compared to my tower garden?
Yeah, so if you give me one quick second, I can go
Yeah,
get it real quick. So that way you
sure.
can.
That'll be really fun.
Okay, so here's the tray. So it's
Yep.
this kit. You just open it up. And also, you can see me on the back. I have a lot of people who ask, is this an MLM? And I'm like, no, this is really my company. So
That's
you
good
open
stuff.
it up and you can see there's all the seeds in the soil. So these are the soil. This is called coco coir. It's a sterilized grow medium, which you just pour water on and it expands like those expandable washcloths. And the reason why we like a sterilized grow medium is so you don't have risk of eruptions of bugs.
So the
And
word
then
you
you have
said is sterilized grow medium.
medium. Mhm.
So it's a place
So
it's like
soil.
replacing soil in a
Mhm.
pot. I
Yeah.
love it.
And then you have your seeds. So in our standard kit, we give you Oriental mustard. This one's my favorite and most popular. Then there's broccoli, and then there's salad mix. And on here's a little QR code that takes you to a video on how to grow microgreens. So it makes it super simple. And then the tray, which you're asking about, this is your tray. So it's super
Okay.
small. You can see it's like 9 inches by 12 inches. You just put it right next to your window. Ambient light's all you need. In
And
this
how many of those little pads can you fit on that?
so you would do one soil and one seed. So that would cover this whole tray and you get that lush microgreen.
That one circle that you just showed me will fill that whole tray.
It expands to 8 times its size. And then because it's super compressed. And then you can see all the seeds in there. If
Yep.
you were to go to a store and get some seeds for your garden, it would be like a tenth of that much seeds.
Got it.
So really a lot of seeds in there.
Yep. Yep. And
And
then so
then
if you're going to do 3 or 4 different types of seeds, you're going to use 3 or 4 different trays.
exactly,
Yep.
yes. And we have a kit that has two trays for that particular reason. Because when you're eating off of one tray, you might want to start growing that next one so you have that rotation so you don't go 7 days without microgreens.
Love it.
Yeah. And so this is the tray. You just lift this up, you put a cup of water in and put that back down. And 7 days you have microgreens. Super simple. Yeah.
Incredible. And so again, you had been taking greens since you were 7 years old.
Yes.
And this was something that you enjoyed getting, but your mom would go get them at the store.
No, I
You
actually
start growing.
started growing them myself the whole time. And there was the original tray that I had, like there were so many things that I wanted to adjust. So as soon as I started my business, I was like, okay, I'm going to work on those. And I got trays that I liked so much better than what I had.
So you had been growing for literally 7 years before you
Mhm.
started selling this kit to other people at
Yeah.
14 years old.
100%. Yeah, it
Amazing.
was so cool. And it's been so cool to see the impact. Like you were mentioning with kids in particular, a lot of kids won't eat their vegetables. I had one kid in my neighborhood who had no interest in fruits and vegetables, none. Just wanted chicken nuggets and chicken nuggets and hamburgers. And then he started growing his microgreens because he saw a particular microgreen that's like really bright and it's super cool looking. And he's like, I want to grow it. I don't want to eat it. I just want to grow it. So he started growing that microgreen. Then a miracle happened. He started to eat that microgreen. And then he started eating vegetables. And this was a kid who wanted nothing to do with fruits and vegetables, started eating vegetables. So when kids start growing their own microgreens, it really makes a huge difference.
I love it. I love again the health benefits and you taking your story at such a young age and now being able to help other people. And I know again the entrepreneurial part of that, and I'm excited to hear a little bit more about that because it takes a lot to put together a product, and then to start
100%.
selling to other people and all of the pieces. What have been some of the biggest challenges that you've faced as an entrepreneur over just when you were growing your own microgreens as a farmer?
Yeah. So one of the biggest things for me is that right before COVID, I was at the point where like if I was to call someone, I could only call them for 1 minute. I had so much social anxiety. And I'd go to vendor markets and I'd be like, I can't talk to anyone. Like I'd literally get a panic attack or I'd start crying in front of people. It was so awful. And there were so many times within that I wanted to quit. But there was one thing that I knew, and that is that when I felt uncomfortable, that's when I needed to move forward. And so even through that uncomfortableness, I still stayed with it and I still did the things because my vision was so much bigger than the pain that I was experiencing in that moment. And it's that comfort zone. So you have your comfort zone, say it's like right here. If you start getting out of it and then you go back, you get out. Oh, really?
Like, great. Technology is
Yeah.
so awesome.
You okay there. So if you start getting out of it and then you come back, then soon your comfort zone is going to expand and expand just like that. And then soon you'll look back and you'll be like, that comfort zone really wasn't that comfortable. Like I have so much more of a comfort zone now. And so it's just that consistency of doing the things and moving into that space of being more comfortable in the uncomfortable. And just
Mhm.
knowing that fear's there to serve a purpose, but is it really helping you? And if it's not, then go ahead and do the thing that's going to help you the most.
Oh, that's so beautiful. Again, that's why I love to hear the entrepreneurial story of it. And you were talking about having a vision that was bigger than your fear. And again, people hear this interview and they'd be like, no way, he's exaggerating and all of this stuff. But these were really what you overcame by stretching your fear through entrepreneurship. But you said you had a bigger vision. Tell me a little bit more about that. What is your vision?
That is such a great question. So, with microgreens, they've changed my life and I've seen how much they can impact other people. And so, I want to share this gift with the world, especially people in food deserts where they're not able to go to the store and get fresh veggies. They're able to come home, grow their microgreens, whatever space they have, they're able to have fresh live veggies. And especially for kids who are starting to grow and they're starting to need more energy, having all of the processed foods that a lot of food deserts tend to have really can impact them. And I want to make sure that everyone has the ability to have fresh life produce, no matter their economic situation, no matter where they are in the world. And that's my biggest mission.
Again, love that. Love the beauty of your service and how you want to help other people. It brings up something when you say everybody it's available. It takes very little water. What is the cost of it?
The
Both of your
costs,
product and then like for ongoing, if somebody's gonna be a farmer, like how much does it cost to eat veggies all the time?
yeah, that is such a great question. So for our standard currently, it's $35. So you have your three grows and the tray, and then you can get seed refills after that that ship that ship right to your door. And then for the deluxe, it's just $15 more, so it's $50, and it goes right to your door as well. And the great thing about that is when you buy your kits, we're setting up a foundation to start being able to go into schools and teach other kids how to grow microgreens. So it's going to be a part of like a buy one give one experience. And so
Mhm.
that's one of our future goals is setting that into the time of what we do and how that cost is going to make an even bigger impact into the world. And so yeah,
I
we
love that idea about the further impact, and I'm thinking of other organizations that work, especially in Africa, where
mhm,
water is such a challenge that they can't
yes.
really harvest lots of vegetables, but to be able to add this there and into schools, literally things like Unstoppable Foundation is what I'm thinking of. So it's great thinking about like being able to get those into other organizations as well. Have you partnered with other, you said schools, where you're teaching them? You have a nonprofit that you're doing that with, or what does that look like?
Right now, I'm doing it more in my business, and I'm moving to having a foundation that's specifically set up for that. And I do want to dive into the whole like going to Africa and helping people there because I have looked at that. And there's a couple organizations that I've been looking at working with in particular there. And the cool thing about microgreens is we can bring the trays. I don't know if we can bring the soil, but you can use the soil that's available there. The
Mhm.
thing that's most challenging are the seeds. And what's
Of
really
course.
cool is that you can get seeds from that particular country, wherever it is. And then you just have to make sure that you sterilize it. And so there's a few different ways that I've been looking at sterilizing the seeds so that when I go there, I can teach them how to do that. So then they can grow their own microgreens without my help or without anyone else's. Because once you get those foundations set, then you can start growing it pretty easily.
Love that. Yeah, well, definitely have more conversations and we'll follow up with everybody listening about opportunities with that. And then if you've got a school or an organization and you want to bring Connor in, I'm sure Connor would be happy to speak. Please leave comments below and we'll respond to that. I want to just ask one last question again about the technical part. So once you have the trays, and then each pad, how much is it to get another pad? Every 7 days, I can replace it for how much?
So for this, so you'll get the seed and the soil. So you get both of these.
Yeah.
Each one is approximately $5. So just $5. And if you think of going to the store and getting a head of broccoli, like it's so much
Yeah.
less expensive. And this will last you for a good week. And if you have like a family of four, it'll probably last you 2 to 3 days. So pretty good amount of time, and it's super nutrient content.
And do you have like a membership model where people can just subscribe and just get it automatically sent?
Yeah, it's just directly on the website, islandmicrogreens.com.
Love it. I was going to ask you to repeat that again, and you read my mind. It's
Yep,
so
mind
beautiful.
reading.
Indeed. And so again, we talked about the biggest challenges of coming through on the other side. What have you seen as the biggest wins, both for yourself and how you've grown both, or we heard about your confidence, and then like some of the other people. Yeah, I know you've helped a lot of other people. You shared one of the stories about somebody that started to eat vegetables. What other big wins have you felt personally in this business?
I would say one of the other best wins is watching my clients succeed in growing their microgreens and having the connection with their friends and family. Because a lot of times we're around our friends and family and we're like, we know you so much that we don't know what questions to ask because we know everything about you. So creating a new experience that is different so you have something to talk about is really powerful. And one of my favorite moments was when one of someone bought a kit, but they bought 6 kits and sent them to all of their grandkids. It was their birthday. And they all hopped on Zoom and we got to teach them how to grow their microgreens. And you could just see the joy in the kids' eyes as they were growing their microgreens with their grandparent. And
Mhm.
it was just so much fun to be a part of that because microgreens are such great gifts to give to your friends and your family because you have that experience that really makes a difference, especially when you're working with kids. And so it was so much fun to see that. And then the other day, one of my own highlights is I got to record a podcast with Marie Diamond from The Secret. And so it was really cool just to get to know her more and learn more about the power of our environment because what we have around us really makes a difference in our level of success, whether it's in health, wealth, or our relationships with our friends and family. So it was really cool.
I'm glad that you brought that up. I was going to ask you about that interview. So you interviewed Marie Diamond for your
Yeah.
podcast, which I was on your podcast as well. Tell me a little bit of background. How did you get to speak with Marie Diamond and get to share your story? It's fantastic.
So this is actually a really funny story. So I was at an event and you know James Bentley, right? So
Yeah.
he has you like he'll be like turn to the person left and right and tell them you don't know who you're sitting next to. So my mom started doing that. You don't know who you're sitting next to and the person just went, okay. And then he had everyone get up and be like, I am, and then your name. I am a dragon slayer. I'm a mountain mover. And then like you keep repeating your name. And she went all in. She was saying, I am Christine Hebel. I'm a dragon slayer. I'm a mountain mover. And then goes back to, you don't know who you're sitting next to. So then I run over and I'm like, hey, mom, I really want to meet Marie Diamond. And she's like, yeah, I do too. The person right next to her was Marie Diamond. She really did not know who she was sitting next to.
That
And
is
so when we went over, mom introduced herself and she was like, oh, I know who you are. So yeah, you
amazing.
never know who you're sitting next to, who's going to be that next incredible person that's going to change your life or be a part of your journey. And so, yeah, it was a really cool experience to really learn you don't know who you're sitting next to.
Absolutely. And it's fun because you have put yourself into these environments, these cruises, these events, and your mom has been very supportive in so you growing as an entrepreneur and as a person. I really appreciate watching that as a parent myself and all of the opportunities that come from entrepreneurship. But not every person has the ambition and everything else that you've taken, or they might feel like it is too much. You said you took a lot of courage, and to me, that's one of the biggest pieces is the courage and stepping outside of the comfort zone. You mentioned your vision. Is there anything else that you can share for anybody listening to help encourage them to step into something that is bigger than them?
One of the biggest things that especially like schools and our environment miss is that they want us to be well-rounded. Of like, you do school, you do the math, you do English, you do PE, you do all these things, and some of those things you have high strengths in, and some things you have high weaknesses in. And they want you to be well-rounded. They don't want you to have those weaknesses. And so you focus on the weaknesses, and the more you focus there, the less you focus on your strengths. And so when you're in an entrepreneurial sphere, instead of focusing on your weaknesses, focus on those strengths, because those are going to be the things that really help move you forward. And so when you map out what your strengths are, you're able to figure out, how can I be the best leader in my business? And when you do that, then you're able to either delegate or learn some of the other things that aren't fully your strength, but maybe you can do. And so really having that honest assessment with yourself is going to make a huge difference in how far you get. Because if you're doing the things that you love that are your strengths, that's when you're going to succeed the most.
I love it. It's such a beautiful way to wrap up and segue into the final question. This is leading with purpose. And you just mentioned leadership is part of this. It's such an important piece of entrepreneurship. What does leading with purpose mean to you, Connor?
That is such a great question. And I think I'll answer that with a story. So, right when I started Island Microgreens, I was going down the route that a lot of microgreen farmers took, which is growing the microgreens and selling them. There's a much higher profit, and you can do it a lot consistently. A lot of people want already grown microgreens. And so I was growing them, but my mission statement didn't align with it. And one day my mom asked me, "What is your mission statement?" Which is, we are on a mission to empower people to grow their own organic, nutrient dense, fresh food. And so she asked, "Is this in alignment?" And I really thought about it. I was like, it really isn't, because we're not empowering people, we're growing for them. And so then she was like, "Do you want to keep doing this, or do you want to change your mission statement?" And I really looked at it and I was like, the reason why I started this was to teach people how to grow their own food. And so even though the profit margin is significantly less, it was in alignment with what I wanted to do and what my vision was. And so I stopped growing and selling microgreens as my main source. I started focusing on the kits, and that was my purpose. And so when you really are able to iron out who you are, what you want, you're able to follow that vision and purpose. And sometimes it doesn't feel great in that moment when you're getting a cut in how much money you're making, or you're having to set boundaries that maybe you didn't before. And yeah, it's so much better when you do that, when you're able to align with who you are and what your goal is in whatever area of life you're focusing. And so that would be what I would say, is just focus on the things that are most important.
Could not have said it better. That was absolutely beautiful. Again, I appreciate your leadership and what you're putting out there. I can see lots of Christmas orders coming in from me personally, and hopefully others too. I think it's a great gift, especially if you have young people in your life. For me, I can see it for my parents. My mom loves to garden, loves to grow plants. So it's just the opposite. She has a great green thumb, but I think she'll really enjoy the process, and especially when the grandkids come over and stay for a week and they can actually watch their microgreens grow.
I love that. And it's such a great gift for people who have the garden, because it aligns so much with what they already have. And so they can add more to what they're doing with their fresh life produce.
And like you said,
And
just cut it off and use it as spicing and flavoring on your sandwiches and salads. I think it's great.
yeah, it is so amazing. Yeah. And one last thing before we go, I just want to share that I'm launching my new book, The 4% Edge, which is talking about a lot of what I said about that comfort zone. So if you're in that like stuck state, this book will be coming out next year, the second quarter of next year. So be sure to check it out.
I'm so glad to hear that. I did not even know. I'm grateful that you made sure to get that in there, and we'll make sure to add that into the show notes as soon as the book is out. If you have pre-orders already, or should
I
we?
haven't set that up yet, so I'll let you know when I do. And then, of course, get this amazing book by someone that you might know. It's Soulful Leadership Tools for a New Way of Being. It is such a great book, and it's been really impactful.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Connor. I appreciate you. Thank you for having me on your show. Again, what was the name of your show for our audience? Where can we find that?
Let's Get Growing. So let'sgetgrowing.com. You should be able to find it there, and just search up Let's Get Growing and it'll be there. It's on growth for health, wealth, and entrepreneurship. Wait, no, health, wealth, and mindset. So it's growth in all of those areas and actionable steps with every podcast.
I love it. And I love growing with you. I appreciate it, Connor.
Likewise.
Have a wonderful day. We'll talk to you
You
soon.
too.
Thank you for joining us on this episode of Leading with Purpose. We hope today's conversation has inspired you to lead with purpose and make a meaningful impact. If you're ready to discover where you stand on your leadership journey, I invite you to take the Soulful Leadership Assessment. It's a powerful tool to help you align with your leadership style and your true purpose.